Get cool stuff for what you were going to do anyway. Drink beer. With Buy Beer, Get Gear from Labatt, you can just snap a photo of your receipt and upload it to the website to rack up points for exclusive merch. Get points for every purchase, whether you're grabbing a pint on draft, a case for a party, or a tall boy at the stadium. Any size, any product, anywhere you buy Labatt. Buy beer, get gear. Sign up now at rewards.labattusa.com.
Now, stand back for your own safety.
Steve, what's up?
Congrats on the win.
Thanks, Steve. Where Paulie at?
Here we go.
I'm checking out. I will respond to you, but I'm done for the week. I'm done.
Steve is my favorite part of the show. How's that?
I like that. Thank you. Thank you for saying that.
Check for sound.
Pleasure to be on there talking with Paulie, man. He's a good dude.
I'm an idiot. I'll just shut up and let you talk. I was trying to help.
And shout out to Tupac.
3, 2, 1, and
This is Orange Nation.
Well, hello, Paulie and Steve.
With Stephen Fonte and Paulie Sibilia.
Check it out. Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to have you with us. Happy New Year, everyone. Stephen Fonte, Paulie Sibilia with you here on a Friday edition of Orange Nation. Just one show this week.
There's nothing to be happy about, Steve, in Orange Nation.
We've got Matt Park joining us
Worst New Year
at 1:30. Other than that, phone lines will be open. God help us. 315-437-7644. Day one of the transfer portal. We can certainly
it's going great.
Get into that. And we can certainly talk some Cuse basketball back from the break. It's funny because I was watching the game on Wednesday. I worked Wednesday at Channel 9 because Syracuse was playing Clemson. It's a big game, obviously. And I had in my head for some reason that we weren't doing shows all week. So I thought to myself, well, at least we don't have to talk about this one on radio. And then you texted yesterday about the show. I was like, oh, wait, we're doing a show on Friday. So we will talk about Syracuse Clemson here today, and we'll take your phone calls throughout. How was your New Year, Paulie?
Good. I didn't do anything. I was asleep by 10:30, so yeah.
You worked, just like I did.
Yeah, I was here all day yesterday.
Were you?
Yeah.
We can certainly get into the college football playoff as well. I learned something last night watching the college football playoff. Did you watch the very, very end of Mississippi-Georgia last night? The very end, after Mississippi took the lead. Did you see the onside kick?
Yeah.
There was the safety and then the onside kick.
Very exciting play, by the way. Safety.
So did you know that as long as you recover an onside kick on the ground, that no time goes off the clock? Like, the Georgia player laid down on purpose so that a second... I did not know that rule, and apparently Mississippi didn't know the rule either because Georgia had that one last play. But I was like, why is no one touching it? And then the Georgia guy laid down and then recovered it. And I was like, well, if they had a chance, didn't he have to pick it up? But no, it was that no time would go off the clock. So
Steve,
I learned
people
that last
in
night.
our chat think you're avoiding the elephant in the room.
No, we have plenty of time to talk about the elephant in the room. I'm just saying I learned something last night. That's all.
Is he calling me fat?
What's the elephant in the room? SU basketball?
Yeah, is that, or is it the transfer portal? We have no receivers. Everybody's...
Well, we'll get to the transfer portal.
People's heads are popping off.
I've got some stuff to say about the transfer portal, but we'll get to that. Yeah, let's talk about the hoops game. Sure.
Offense was awful, Steve.
It was. The guard play was not good.
Brutal.
Yeah, the guard play, and I think coming into the year, I think we looked at that as a strength of this team was, the backcourt's going to be fine. JJ and Nathan George, you got Kyan off the bench. We really didn't see much of Kyan at all in the second half, and the guards just did not play well.
What's weird about Nathan George is when he plays bad, you look at his stat sheet and it doesn't show like he played bad. But he's got a little Joe Girard in him, Steve.
Some ill-advised shots?
Yeah, he'll pop a three when you don't need it.
Took that bad three in the second, crunch time minutes.
I don't mean to pile on Joe Girard, but he used to pop a three that you didn't need a lot. And Nathan George seems to do that. They can't get spacing for their guards, and it's a problem.
Yeah.
And it might be, Steve, to the fact that you can't hit a three-point shot. Like, is Nate King's not moving? Are they not getting the ball? Are they not running plays for him? Is that a problem? Is it the fact for the second year in a row you have a center that does nothing offensively and you don't have to guard him? So if your guards by any chance do get past the other guard, there's a center waiting there because you don't have to guard William Kyle unless it's a pick and roll.
Yeah. And it's a shame, too, because Kyle is like, you need Kyle on the floor for a number of reasons, especially on the defensive end. And he's a great rebounder. He's great at blocking shots. He is very good in the pick and roll game. But if you play it right, and obviously Clemson felt like it had it figured out, right, because Kyle didn't do much at all offensively. Now, Donnie Freeman took over in the second half, and that was great to see. Yeah. But to your point, they're not making threes. They're shooting less than 31% from three, which is not good enough. They don't have to be a great three-point shooting team, but you have to be, average to good, and they're not that right now. They're below average shooting threes, and you're right. Not getting anything on the center position offensively may be a reoccurring theme in ACC play.
Yeah, and so bring back the curtain says they don't run plays, Paulie. They run plays, guys. It's just not. It's not working. And I don't know if you need to change plays, if you need to do something different. They clearly need to do something different in order to make it work because the offense they're running is not working. It's not being executed.
Yeah, and I think that we knew going in against Clemson, right, that it was predicted to be a close game. We thought it was going to be a close game. It was. It's two really good defensive teams, so we thought it might be a slugfest, and it was. In terms of two good defenses. Neither offense looked all that great. It came down to a couple of possessions here and there at the end of the game, and Clemson was just a little bit better. And I think unfortunately, that's been a reoccurring theme the last 3 years, the last 5 years, or whatever number you want to put on it. That's been a reoccurring theme, right? That the other team is a little bit better, and I think we saw that. It's unfortunate now because you look at their resume, and we said this before they played this game. We said that if you don't beat Clemson, it's going to be very difficult to improve your resume for the next month, and that is the case. You've got a lot of these average to below average ACC teams next on the schedule. Georgia Tech
have to win those games,
right? Georgia Tech just played Duke well, but their metrics are awful, right? Georgia Tech's over 100 in the net ranking. I think they were 184 going into that Duke game. You got Georgia Tech, you got Pitt, Florida State, BC. Those games are not going to help you, but they're going to hurt you if you lose them. So it's unfortunate because now you enter this stretch of 4 to 5 games. Virginia Tech Virginia Tech just knocked off Virginia, but it's one of these games that I don't know how much that one helps you because it's a home game against Va Tech, but you better not lose it. Yeah. So you got this 5-game stretch where they got to go out and take care of business before you get back into teams that can help your resume.
Yeah. And everybody that reads into the metrics and stuff, they change every game. So it says we're a 16-win team. Yeah. But if they beat BC and Georgia Tech and Pitt, it'll say they're a higher ranked team. You just give it time. It's the season. You don't want to hear it, but the season's not over. If you want to give up on it, fine. We all know what the outcome's going to be if they don't make the tournament. There's nothing to argue about. But if you don't want them to win and you're like rooting against them, I don't want to hear it. But it's not over, and you should be rooting for them to win these games and figure out their offense. This is a good time to figure out your offense, right? You got 3 winnable games. Do it, and then...
Well, regardless of who the opponent is, there was no better time to figure out the offense than immediately, right? So, they've got to figure out the offense. They've got to be better on that end of the floor. The defense, for the most part, has been good, although, Clemson still shot 48%. I thought one of the biggest things on Wednesday was the turnovers, right? It was just unforced. JJ had that one where, he just dribbled between his legs along the sideline and just dribbled it off his foot out of bounds. Like, those things cannot happen. And it wasn't, there weren't 2 minutes on the clock when that happened. It was in the first half, but it's still like every possession matters. And especially in a game that is going to be close, you can't have those wasted possessions where, and we joke about it, that every game there's, JJ has a turnover like that, Kyan has a turnover like that, Nathan George has a turnover like that you just scratch your head and you're like, that was middle school stuff. Like that just can't happen.
JJ was awful.
He did not play well. Yeah. He did not play well. The guards were a problem on Wednesday.
Do you think we'll see I know you got to play Nathan George and JJ. They're going to play. Cayenne's going to play. Do you think we could see Donnie at the 5 and you go maybe a Sadiq, Nate King's Donnie at the 5? I mean, you couldn't do that against Clemson because he would have gotten shoved around.
Yeah,
but
that's my concern with that lineup.
It's kind of what they did year one of Red.
Yeah,
and when they had a bigger center, they got pushed around. But you were offensively able to do stuff.
Right, you're trading offense for defense, and you may have to do that because again, William Cal's not going to all of a sudden start making 15-footers.
And to Red's credit, like everybody can bash on the offense. The defense is legitimately good, but you can't lose a game where you only give up 64 points.
Yeah, right. And that's partly where the turnovers come into play. They had 15 turnovers. That's wasted possessions, wasted opportunities. You're giving Clemson more opportunities by committing that many turnovers. And in a close game, I mean, it's a one-possession game, right? It came down to one possession. Every possession matters. And so the turnovers, they've popped up. It's not an every game problem, but it's hurt them, a handful of times this year. They've had too many turnovers, and this was a bad game, a bad time to have too many turnovers.
Yeah, and Gaper says, "Dude, what bench Kyle?" I don't know what the answer is, but he dominated offensively against the smaller teams, but I don't know that he's defensively he's a stud.
Talking about Nate King?
Yeah, or
William Kyle.
William Kyle.
Okay, yeah.
He's a stud. He's great on putbacks. He's all that stuff. But offensively, if they're not hitting threes, you got to get points somewhere.
Yeah, right. If you don't have to guard him, that's a problem.
Yeah.
Like he's got to be. You have to keep the defense honest, and that's what we talk about with like JJ and Nathan George. Like they don't have to shoot 45% from 3-point range. They've got to make enough of them though to keep the defense honest.
Yeah.
And Syracuse isn't doing that right now across the board.
And I'm not saying you do it for 40 minutes a game, but
sprinkle it in.
Yeah, sprinkle it in and try and make because it spreads the defense a little bit.
Yeah,
and you can't do it against every team. But if someone's got a smaller center or an immobile center, you could try it.
Yeah.
Let's go to Dom.
Dom, what's up?
Hey, guys. Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Paulie, it was wonderful seeing you the other night.
Yeah, always a pleasure to see me.
Yes. So it was my first game there in person, and there were some things that I was watching that you don't really get to see on TV. And Red is coaching, and he actually seems like he's really frustrated. There's times where he's like telling the guys to move faster. You see him with his arms that just move. And there's a disconnect somewhere, and I don't know. Like, can you blame Red? Do you blame the players? I don't know, but they are obviously not doing what he is coaching them or telling them to do. Like several times, there was one time where he's telling Nate George to hurry up across the midcourt line to call a timeout, and George is just like, "Oh, I got all the time in the world." And watching the game, there's also times where I'm thinking to myself, why are they not pushing the ball? Go faster. Just go. And Nate George was faster than everybody on Clemson. Cayenne Anthony was faster than everyone on Clemson. And Cayenne knew it, and he was taking advantage of it. And Starling, my questioning of Red is the subs. Cayenne was playing great. Why are you not playing him when Starling's not playing well? Starling was definitely not playing well. And then Betsy was shooting the ball outside, which could open things up. That's my only question of Red. I'm not like the biggest basketball X and O's guy, but that's just things that I saw and I was questioning while I was there at the game.
Yeah.
But Red is definitely frustrated at this lack of speed. And I don't know if it's because they put so much effort on defense and they're catching their breath on offense, but there's something there that he wants and he's obviously not getting, and you could see it in his body language.
Yeah, and it's his job to get it. So, I understand. I see it every game. The fans don't want to hear it anymore.
Yeah.
Right? It's a problem.
I was surprised. He brought up Cayenne. I was surprised that we didn't see more of Cayenne in the second half. That may come down to, obviously it's a really important game and he's going to go with the guys that he trusts. And I know he trusts JJ, but JJ, to Dom's point, JJ did not play well. He had 4 turnovers. George had 3. I mean, you had 7 turnovers with your starting backcourt, and JJ just 4 points, 2 for 7 from the field. Didn't play well. Cayenne Cayenne, we just didn't see much of him in the second half at all. He played 15 minutes. Most of that was in the first half. And I think it's, we don't have Red on this week. I wish we could hear him talk about, that finding that balance, right? Because he wants to go with the guys he trusts down the stretch. But in a game where, JJ clearly just didn't have it, do you try to put Cayenne in there and see if he provides a spark?
Yeah, I've said this since day one. The subbing is baffling. Like, Betsy's on fire early on, and then he's gone. Cayenne is scoring, and then he's gone. I don't get it.
Now, you go back to, I say that, like, JJ clearly didn't have it. Donnie clearly didn't have it in the first half, and that's a case of he goes with the guys he trusts, and then Donnie breaks out in the second half. He didn't score a field goal until, like, 11 minutes to go in the game, and then he scored 18 points. So I get that you want to, dance with the girl you brought, or, whatever the saying is. I get that you trust JJ, but... I don't know. I wonder I kind of wonder aloud, and it's easy for us to say it now that the game's over and, hindsight's 20/20, but you look back and you say maybe Cayenne should have played a little bit more in the second half.
Yeah, Donnie Freeman's got to be on the floor 40 minutes.
100%.
He's the best player on the court for both teams last game.
Yeah.
He got a good look. He said he shot it too quick at the end. I thought he hesitated in his shot a little bit, came up a tad short.
Yeah, I had a few people talk to me about that last possession.
They got a good look from a guy who was scoring a lot.
That was the guy who was playing. He was playing the best. He's your best player, and he had already hit a couple, right?
He was online.
I was completely fine with that last possession. There are plenty of things to point to in that game and say that wasn't good enough, or you could question those things. For me, the last possession was not one of those things.
Yeah. Another thing is I see people complaining about him shooting threes. He's got to shoot one or two.
Keeps the defense honest.
Yeah, to keep people out of the lane.
Yeah. Somebody's got to make threes. And he was
paging.
He actually made a couple.
Nate Kings. Paging Nate Kings.
Right. That's why he's here. A big part of why he's here.
He's been great defensively, gets to the rim. Just got to do what they brought him for.
Yeah. Got to make some shots. Let's go to Marty down in Tampa. Marty, what's up?
Hey, Paulie just touched on this a little bit. My question was, I haven't heard many people talk about this, or I could be completely off base, but I don't get why Donnie Freeman did not start that game. If you look, we got behind 12-3 in the first half, and it was 9-2 outscored to start the second half. Let him start the game. We got to have our best team out there to start the game. If he gets gas, you take him out. It's like, why are we handicapping ourselves by keeping him? Granted, he's come back from an injury. I get it. But, if he gets tired, take him out. We need the best team on the floor to start the game. Not 16 points. We had to make up some time during that game, and we did, and we lost by 3.
Yeah.
I don't get why he didn't start. I don't get it.
It's a good question, Marty. My guess is, and again, we don't have Red on this week. I would love to ask him that question because you're right. We all, if he's healthy enough to play, why isn't he in the starting lineup? My guess with that is that they knew he couldn't play 40 minutes, right? He ended up playing 27, and that might have even been pushing it. And my guess is they were trying to steal some minutes in the first half so that he could play most of the second half. That's my guess, but it's a good question.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we had him in there start at both halves. We make up that 3 points. We win the game.
Yeah. I mean, it's and again, if you know he's only going to play, like, let's say his pitch count was 25 minutes, and if you know that, then maybe you're like, all right, we play him 7 or 8 minutes in the first, 10 minutes in the first half, and then a majority of the second half, and he ended up playing 27 minutes. He was awesome in the second half. He was obviously rusty in the first half. I don't know. I'm not in Red's shoes. It's a good question, Marty. That's my guess, though, is that they were hoping to steal some minutes in the beginning, try to shorten the game for Donnie, and then let him cook there in the second half, which he did, obviously.
I don't know. We can sit here and question everything, and as long as if they win that game, what are we talking about? I don't know. Is everybody still complaining? You got to score.
Yeah.
Got to score points.
I mean, Marty brings up a good point, though, that it was 10-3 when he checked in, and then Clemson scored right after that. So it was 12-3. They scored on the very next possession. So it was 12-3 and you basically spotted your opponent a 9-point lead before you bring your best player in. So I understand the point.
Yeah.
I can also understand the counter argument, which is like, if he starts the game, then do you take him out for like 10 minutes in the first half so that he's fresh for the second half? Who knows? It's unfortunate that they had the 9-day layoff, because I think that in a ideal world, if they had played a tune-up game 3 days before the Clemson game, then maybe it makes sense. It obviously makes sense to bring Donnie back. You shake off the rust. You bring him back up to speed. I think they looked at it as, why would we play him 9 days before we play again? Because that's not really going to help him. So, it's unfortunate, I guess, how the timing worked out with that.
All right, let's take our first time out, Steve. We went long there.
You have nothing to say about that? Do you agree, disagree?
No, I want to keep the show on time. New Year.
That's all that matters.
New Year, new me.
That's our New Year's resolution.
Yes,
Keep the show on time.
I don't want to talk anymore. I'm done.
That was our opening drive. It's brought to you by Burdick BMW of Cicero.
I completely checked out in the middle of your conversation because I thought you were going to throw to the break.
Oh, okay. So
when
you weren't even listening. Okay, 315-437-7644. At least you're on.
It's 12:20. I was like, he's going to make a point and then just break.
Okay, I made my point. We'll take a break. Back after this on ESPN Radio. Some things never change.
Catch the Syracuse basketball pregame.
Who are people? People think SU is a joke. Who are the people? The only people who are talking shit about Syracuse are Syracuse fans. Yeah, everybody wants better. Cuse, if they fire Red at the end of the season because he doesn't make the tournament, they'll get another coach, but there's no guarantee the next coach is going to be better.
To answer your question, Philly, yes. I think that is part. I do think that's part of the problem. I do. I agree with you.
Dominic, I don't know if you noticed I'm not going to say this today because the fans don't want to hear, but our fans suck at games. Oh, so bad. Like, they don't cheer. Like, they just sit on their ass. Cheer the whole freaking game. The only time they cheered is when they do the start of the first half and the start. Don't fucking come if you're just going to sit there. What is your favorite team, you dumbass? They lost by 3. Like, there was 12 seconds, I think, left on the clock going into half, and everybody was on their way to the beer stands. It's not even 2 years. It's been longer than that. It's just... Clemson is a good team. Bring back the curtain. So go to hell with that. Okay, you're sick of it. You can still, so you don't want to cheer for the team to win? That's a stupid take. Then sell your tickets to somebody who wants to cheer for them. It was great. Then don't go. I'd rather look at it. On New Year's Eve in Canada, I was asleep by 10:30.
Yeah, tea takes. I'm wearing jeans. No, I'm not working TV today, just radio. Really? Down in Virginia? I think we're coming back here. I don't know if you can, bring me back.
Thanks.
All right, Stephen Fonte, Paulie Sibilia back with you here on Orange Nation. Let's keep those phone calls coming as we go back to the phone lines. We've got John in Bridgeport up next on the show. John, what's going on today? Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year to you, Steve.
What do you got for us today?
I'm multitasking. I'm watching you on YouTube and watching the ESPN.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
On the Dan McAfee show.
Oh.
They
Pat,
just announced that Miami is keeping all $14 million of their football monies. Do you guys know anything about that? Is the ACC one for all, and now that Miami and Florida State are football programs, they get to keep the monies?
So I know.
New or?
So I know that the ACC has worked with its member schools in terms of making it so that if you have more success, you get more money. So, I don't know the fine details of, exactly how much they get to keep, but I do know that when, Clemson and Miami and Florida State were talking about leaving, the ACC worked with the member schools on making it so that it was based more on success than it was just splitting everything across the board.
I'm reading right now. I'm trying to read as we go. It's the Hurricanes will get $6 million for making the playoff. That brings their $14 million total so far they've made.
Yeah, right. So the conference divvies it up differently now than they used to. Mm-hmm. Right? It used to be like an even split across the board, and everybody benefits. And now they've made it more so based on your success.
The ACC will allow the Hurricanes to keep all $14 million they've earned so far. And they will keep $3 million if it's travel expenses that they've got. So.
Okay. And that's new as of 2 years ago, right? I mean, that's this. Yeah, this might even be the first year. And all the days kind of run together. Yeah. Yeah. But again, they're trying to keep the member schools happy. We appreciate you checking in, John. They're trying to keep the member schools happy, and especially the Clemsons and Miamis and North Carolinas of the world and Florida State. And this is one way that they're going about doing it, is that if you have success, you're going to make more money.
Q Sports Source says, stop talking about football. Address the dumpster fire that is SU basketball. I'm worried about football, too. Who's Steve Angeli going to throw the ball to? A bunch of freshmen. I don't like it.
Do you want to get into football now? I was thinking we would talk.
Late.
I was thinking we'd talk football.
We'll do a quick segment. That was a good one-call segment.
Okay,
and we will.
You're all about staying on time. If you want to stay on time, just a quick note: it's good to get back before the commercials.
I had an emergency.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I couldn't go another minute.
Okay.
And I
Those
did look
watching us on QSportsTalk.com know what I'm talking about.
I did not look at the clock. I'm rusty. I'm like Donnie Freeman right now. It's been 9 days. How long of a layoff has it been? I didn't
just so happened Tim was standing here, so Tim helped us come back from break.
Yeah, because God forbid the board needs to be run.
I could have done it in a pinch. I just want you to know that, but I didn't need to because
Tim was a little under the weather for the Clemson game and was supposed to do post game. And we asked you, and everybody was terrified that if you said yes, we wouldn't be able to run the board for it. Mario, who doesn't even work here,
he ran the board. I could do it in a pinch. I prefer not to.
Yeah,
I prefer it.
Yeah, it's below you.
I didn't say it was below me.
No, we all know you, Steve. You don't. No, people who make minimum wage have touched those buttons. I don't want to work.
That is not true. And I was working at Channel 9 on Wednesday. Could not help you out. Although I would have. If I was free, I would have helped.
All right.
All right. Let's take a timeout. Let's get back on time. 315-437-7644. Back after this on ESPN Radio.
Can't hear me. I'm not saying anything. Yeah, the women are playing well. They got beat by Duke, beat Florida State. Wasn't there, so you can give me for that. Mikey P says he's done some pretty heinous things to those buttons. I'm moving on the 15th.
January 15th?
Yes, Steve.
Do you need my help?
I don't know, Steve.
Why are you being salty?
I just don't want to do this.
You want to do what?
This. It's like it's 20. I want the basketball team to win.
So you want my help if the basketball team wins?
Yeah, no, I just want five people got stabbed in my new neighborhood.
Your new neighborhood?
Over the weekend. Didn't that happen down here? Yeah. And I was like, I missed one show. Yeah. I'm always behind the table now. Carmelo Anthony bought my seat, so I hate him. We're fighting. I got beef with Carmelo. Don't let me see him out in public. I'll sweep his legs.
It's starting to do it again. You don't care?
Switch to 3. You want?
Trying to keep it the same for you. All right. You're okay with it?
Yeah.
3.
You don't need my permission to go to 3.
I just want you to remember.
There, Steve's on 3.
I'm on 3 now.
NC State is 7th in the ACC right now. They're 1-0. That's very impressive. They play Virginia next. It does. See, LA Orange, you say, what's their net? The net really doesn't matter right now because if they lose a bunch of ACC games, they're not going to be good. Their net will be bad. Yes, I'd rather be 1-0. They haven't beaten anybody really good yet. Ooh. This is Marquis, Steve. I'm here from the return. Do you want to hear what Brad Brownell had to say about Syracuse's offense, Steve?
Let's do it.
It puts Brad Brownell in a weird spot how this question was asked. I don't even know who asked it. It's a good question, but it's funny because after he gives his answer, I'll tell you what I saw people saying on social media about his answers. Did you see it?
I did see it. Yes, right. I saw it.
inside or get a screener, or they multiple handoff situation that leads to a ball screen and then spreads you. And then, obviously when you guard people's initial action, then I think most teams end up in what is play after the play. And so what is that? And a lot of teams, it's either flash a 5-man and do a DHO, which they do some, or it's, put Nate George or JJ Starling in a ball screen, which is what they do. So, we do some of that. So I don't think it's uncharacteristic to college basketball. And I think having Donnie Freeman changes things.
Well, yeah. And I mean, the second half was offensively looked a lot better because Donnie was out there. And you have to hope, if you're an SU fan, that moving forward, that he fixes some of their problems, because they definitely, as much as Red said there's no problem on offense, I think, again, you're seeing game in and game out that they're not making enough threes. When they need a bucket, who do they go to? They were able to go to Donnie in this game. The guards have not played well. William Kyle wasn't really an offensive threat. I mean, there are some issues that they have to address on the offensive side of the court, and hopefully having Donnie back, that fixes some of those things.
Yeah. So and it's already in our chat. Coach Brownell isn't going to say anything bad. I will agree with the complainers about that, but he does see that they run an offense. The thing that's getting me on social media, Steve, is Brownell is saying that because he wants to play Red more.
Yeah, I saw that quite a bit.
What an absolutely stupid take. What Brad Brownell says has no effect on Syracuse hiring or firing their coach. Just a stupid take.
Yeah, and coaches generally defend coaches, and I get that. So, I mean, that is a fair point, that he's not going to come out and bash him. But I think you also do have to take what he says, and he's a professional. He knows what he's doing, and that's his take on it.
He's been in Red's position.
Sure.
They wanted him gone at Clemson.
Yeah. There are a lot of examples of that.
The Clemson higher-ups were very patient with him, and he's turned it around.
Yeah. Yeah.
There we go. I think Brownell just wants a free win every year. Guys, if Red is going to get fired, he's going to get fired, right? Syracuse has got to win games. What Brad Brownell says doesn't have anything to do with what's going to happen. And Brad Brownell's not going to say, oh, you know what? That's one guaranteed win for me. There you go.
You want to keep talking basketball here? Or you want to go? You want to transition
why
to talk
not?
football?
Yeah, Steve, I kind of do.
Okay.
They've got to figure out their offense. The defense is fine. The offense, I thought, would get better. It hasn't. It's almost regressing, it feels like. You're hoping Donnie changes that, but somebody's got to hit a shot. JJ's jump shot looks like it's getting worse.
Yeah, and I do think a good deal of that is confidence with him. He's obviously struggling right now, and I think we saw that on Saturday, or on Wednesday rather. 4 turnovers, just 4 points. They need him to be better. And in a close game, that you can't have that. You can't have your starting backcourt with 7 turnovers in a close game. I just called up the numbers here on the 3-point shooting. Syracuse is 302nd right now in 3-point shooting less than 31%. It's got to be better than that. Yeah. And, we talked at the beginning of the season about, the free throw shooting, and, they can't be, I know I said it. I was going to say I'm not going to put this on you. I said they can't be this bad. They've shown signs that they are better than that, right? We just saw a game in which they went 22 or 26 or whatever it was. I do think, though, that free throw shooting is going to continue to be a problem. They're not a good free throw shooting team. Let's put it that way. And we were on the fence about 3-point shooting early on when there was a smaller sample size. We said we didn't really know. We said it might be too early to tell if 3-point shooting is going to be a problem for this team or not. We thought Nate Kings eventually would settle in and he would be fine. 3-point shooting, I think we can say it's a problem, right? Yeah. I mean, I think we can say it now. It is a problem with this team. They're not making enough threes. They're 5 for 15. Again, they don't need to shoot 45%, but they got to be able to make more than 5 3-pointers, because it does impact how the opposing defenses, and especially good opposing defenses, are going to match up against you.
Yeah, and I see Nathan George getting some some pushback that he can't inflate his numbers. I don't know what more you want out of a point guard. Like I don't think he took a bad shot in that game, and he had, of his 3 turnovers, 2 of them were just careless, which he's got to be better with. But I mean, he's 5 of 6 from the free throw line. That means he's getting to the line. 1 of 3 from 3, 6 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 turnovers, 1 steal. Like he's a stat stuffer. It's just he's got to be better with the ball.
Yeah. He's turning the ball over too much.
Yes.
And 2 for 9 from the field is inefficient, right? And as you talked about at the top of the show, he's got a little Joe Girard in him with his shot selection. That 1 3 that he took, in crunch time, and I don't have my log in front of me, but there was just a few minutes left. It was a key spot in the game. He jacks up a 3, crosses half court, jacks up a 3, wasted possession. That was essentially a turnover, and then Clemson goes the other way and scores. Some of his decision making, I think, has been suspect. Yeah. And you got to be better at that position. He's had some games where he's been great in terms of, 1 turnover or none, but he's also got, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4. He's got 5 games this year where he has 3 or more turnovers, and 4 of those were 5 or more turnovers. That's just, that can't happen with your starting point guard.
Yeah, and your 2 guard can't be 2 for 7 from the field.
Right. It wasn't just Nathan. It was really just the backcourt, the starting backcourt in general, just did not play well.
But what I'm saying is, like, Nathan George got 6 rebounds, JJ got 2. Like he's doing other things. No steals, 1 steal for JJ, 4 turnovers for JJ. Like, it's not just 1,
Right. It's not just Nathan George. I mean, JJ did not play well on Wednesday. And listen, I think coming into the year, we looked at this roster and we said, okay, Donnie is their best player. I think we probably would. I mean, JJ he wasn't on my All-ACC preseason team, but he got All-ACC honors from, the conference voters.
He turned the ball over a lot last year.
Yeah, right. But I'm just saying, like, you going into the season, I think we looked at least I did, is Donnie's their best player. And I thought that JJ, like, if you had to pick a second one, I would probably say, okay, JJ's probably the second best player.
Yes.
And unfortunately, he has not played like it to this point.
Okay. I agree. And he's got to be better. And if he's not, I don't get why, like, Cayenne didn't see more, like, in that game especially, why Cayenne didn't see more playing time. If JJ's playing that poorly.
Say that again. I was reading an important text message when you said that.
Why Cayenne didn't play more if JJ was playing that poorly?
Right. Yes, I agree. And that was the one thing coming out of that game from a substitution pattern.
Is there another show in the country where the two hosts just do not listen to each other at all?
I listen to you most of the time. I got a well-timed text message that I had to read as you were saying that, and then you posed a question to me, and I did not hear the question. Yes, I thought Cayenne should have played more in the second half. And, he had, 7 points in 15 minutes. He didn't play much at all after intermission.
He only had 1 turnover.
And again, I think that speaks to it was a close game, and Red went with the guys that he trusts. And who are you going to take off the court? JJ, of the 2 guards, JJ was not playing as well as Nathan George, but I think you also trust JJ, and we've seen him do it, right? We've seen JJ go long stretches without making shots, and then he comes up big down the stretch of games, right? He'll hit a timely shot down the stretch. And so I think that Red probably, went with JJ hoping that was going to happen, as opposed to having Cayenne out there.
Yeah. I don't know. I think you could have found more than 15 minutes for him.
Agreed. I do agree with you on that. But I think, like I said, I think he got to a point in that second half where he didn't want to stray from the lineup he had on the court, hoping that, JJ would do what he's done before, which is, hit a big shot or 2 for you down the stretch.
Do you know what I'd like to see more of Nate King's? He did in that his only 3-pointer in that game. He created the shot himself. He took a dribble, step back, knocked it down. He's got to be able to create his own shot. He's got to get to them. They need more offensively out of him too. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think if not, if Donnie doesn't step up and go nuts in that second half, they probably lose by 10, right? But, Donnie played great in the second half. It's unfortunate that it took him a little bit to get going, but you kind of had to expect that there was going to be some rust, and he was great in the second half. And now let's see, once he gets into a rhythm, and you've got these 5 games again, there's not much margin for error. We know that. And I hate to say that they've got to go 5-0 here, but they probably need to go 5-0 here over these next 5, to stay on a path that now you have so many opportunities in the month of February that if they do happen to go on a run, the opponents are such that it will really help your analytics. I just don't know how realistic it is to go on any sort of lengthy winning streak in the month of February because your schedule is so difficult.
Yeah, well, this is what you've got to do. And you kind of gave me guff for it because I said I want them to get better against like Stonehill and stuff, and you said you can't. You can, as much as they're not great teams, get better against Georgia Tech, BC, Pitt.
I would agree with that. I mean, at least you're playing ACC competition.
You can get better against those guys. And if you figure it out there and get some confidence, maybe things turn around for you. I don't know who. Matt Cicero.
Matt, what's going on? How are you today?
Not much. How you guys doing?
Good.
I really think it all comes down to coaching. I mean, we had just scored 2 points to come within 3. We're getting our defense set up to press them, and this genius calls a timeout, which is our last one, which probably would have come in handy when we got the rebound on the missed free throw to call timeout and actually set up a play rather than just scoot down the court and chuck up a 3. He's awful. As an in-game coach, he's absolutely terrible. They call timeouts, and the 5 of them sit around in a circle and jerk and do whatever they are talking to each other, and the kids are sitting on the bench. There's no coaching. Their offense is 4 guys sit out the 3-point line.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think maybe he thought ahead after the timeout and had told them what plays to run if they missed the free throw and he was setting something up with the defense?
Do you think this team could take that much information at one point in time?
I would hope so. So it's not the coach in that situation. It's the players if he did that.
Well, no. I mean, if he had let them, they were set up for defense. They were set up for the press right away. Donnie went right to the baseline, got his hands up, was ready to defend it, and he calls it our last timeout. If we had 2, I don't mind it. But when it's your absolute last timeout, you don't call that timeout there. There's no need for it.
They got a good shot at the end of the game, though.
Yeah, but they rushed it. The whole thing was you don't have that timeout.
So but if you called the timeout, you still have the same amount of time to get over the court. It's not like they had.
I understand that, but you could slow it down and set something up. This team can't run on that. Like they can't run. Making their own decisions.
There's a lot to be mad about. That last play isn't one of them.
Okay, I'm just saying, as a coach, he's not good.
Okay,
he is not an in-game coach, and it's been proven time and time again. He did the same thing in Houston. What did we run out of? Timeouts.
All right.
Right?
Yep.
I mean, there's no defense of it. How can you defend his coaching? They're great on defense. They're terrible on offense. How many times do you sit there and let your team run the exact same offense of 4 guys? One handles the ball and chucks up a 3, and one's in the middle trying to get the rebound.
It's so simple. To me, like it's so simple for people to be a coach. Like, why aren't you a coach? What's your net ranking at your job? That's the next thing I would love. Like, I get people are mad. Like, what's your net ranking at your job?
That's funny.
You know what I'm saying? Like, are you top? Are you in the 60 percentile of your job on defense? It's funny to me.
People are frustrated. I get it. I would agree with you, Paulie, in that there are plenty of things to be frustrated about or plenty of things to take issue with. I don't think the use of the last timeout and the shot they got on the last possession is one of those things to be upset about. It was a good look from the one guy that was making shots in your second half. And, if they had a timeout and they drew it up, would you have been fine with a 3-pointer from straight away from Donnie Freeman? Yeah.
Wide open 3?
I don't know. I mean, it didn't go in. It's unfortunate, but I don't know that I would have necessarily taken issue with how they handled the end of game strategy there. Now, there are other things to take issue with. For me, that's not one of them.
CJC at our chat says, help is on the way, dear Paulie, when someone says Red is a bad coach. I've been very critical of Red. I was just saying that last time out in play were not what I was mad about this game.
Yeah. Agreed. Want to take one more call here? Let's do it.
Dave in Syracuse.
Dave, what's going on?
Hey, guys. Paulie, I'm going to agree with you. I mean, first of all, the things that Coach Brownell said at the end of the game regarding our offense. You know what? There's a couple teams I've seen this year, and they're more like Ivy League and lower-level teams that run a lot of motion in their offense. But you look at 90% of the Power 4 teams, they're doing the same exact thing we are. They spread the court. They screen high for their point guard. They try to get – sometimes they'll run a weave up top to get someone in the lane and then make it that second or third read, which is to shoot it, drop it low, or kick it out for three. They're running the same thing that we are. They're just maybe executing it better. Yeah. And you know what? Did anybody criticize Clemson's offense? I mean, they had 4 shot clock violations where they didn't even get a shot off.
Yeah.
Guys, the key to the game was our strength. William Kyle is normally an incredible rim protector. They had 46 points in the paint on him. 90% were over William Kyle. Now, would I want to change him in there? Absolutely not. He's been great. But that's where they won the game. They didn't shoot the three well. We shot our free throws well. You would think that's a great equation for us to win. They killed us on the inside, and that's something that was unforeseen with William Kyle in there.
Yeah, and the turnovers too. I mean, 15 turnovers is too much, too many in a close game. And again, it came down to a possession. And you wish you had some of those wasted possessions back, especially from the first half.
Yeah, that's the problem with the offense that I think is the most glaring, is just they don't take care of the basketball. And it's simple. Like, he brings up a point, like, Clemson's offense was brutal. And that's just where and Syracuse's was worse. And you can't hold somebody to 64 points and lose a game. It's embarrassing.
I think if this happened as an isolated incident, you would look at it and you would say, listen, Clemson is always a strong defensive team. Syracuse this year is a really good defensive team, and that's why it was 64-61. You know, we don't watch every second of every Clemson game, right? We do watch every second of every Syracuse game. And the fact that, again, less than 31% shooting from the three, it's a problem. Not a great free throw shooting team, although they were on Wednesday. You know, that's been a problem. And the consistency, the lack of, the attention to detail with the turnover. The turnovers are a problem in not every game, but it was in this one. And you can't afford, there's not a big margin for error, obviously, with this team. And in a close game, in a game that you had to have, and you're right, Paulie, like the season is not over, but this is a game they had to have or really needed. And to commit 15 turnovers and several of them be careless turnovers, like that can't happen. Like, you're not good enough to overcome those things. Some teams are. Duke is capable. Like, Duke had a problem with Georgia Tech the other day, but they've got some studs on that team where they are capable of just, we are better than you, and over 40 minutes we will prove that. Syracuse doesn't have that luxury of wasting possessions and being like, oh, we'll turn it on when we turn it on. Not many teams have that ability. Syracuse does not have that ability.
I always say that I hate the fact that the players can see what social media is saying. Maybe it makes them play tight or whatnot, but they also see it and they know where they are, right? They know where they are and what they got to do. And if you come out and you're still that careless with the basketball, that's on them too.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's take a timeout.
I tell you what. Well, let's get our
Lee Baldwin.
Yeah, let's get our update on the market here before we take a timeout. Mike from Lee Baldwin. Happy New Year, Mike. How you doing today?
Happy New Year. Good, thanks, guys. And we're actually coming off a down week so far. It's kind of screwed up. It feels like a Monday, but it's a Friday. First day of the year for us trading, and the markets are mixed. The S&P is about flat. The Dow's up a little. Nasdaq's down a little. So nothing too exciting going on first day of trading. Our diamond, we do have Boeing is up about $8. That's in the Dow, so that's helping lead things higher in the Dow. And our dog, we're seeing some weakness in some of the big technology stocks. I'm going to go with Microsoft, trading down $11. So a little bit of rebalancing to start the year off, but nothing too exciting so far. And we're all trying to get back into the swing of things after eating and drinking too much for the last couple weeks. So.
Yes, us as well. We're all in that same boat, Mike. Thanks so much for coming on, and enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thanks, guys. You too.
All right. All the diamonds, none of the dogs. Be sure to visit LeeBaldwin.com.
Mike was at level 5 today.
He was. I love it. Starting the year off strong. Let's take a time out. We'll wrap up hour number 1 next on ESPN Radio.
Can you guys look? This is what gets me. We know you want Red fired. Can you just stop saying the same thing over and over again? Like, I hate to defend Philly's most wanted, but he at least has like opinions on what could be done to change things, like for the team. Just saying fire Red or Red is the worst it's just toxic and boring. No, that move the ball, that drives me crazy too. Is like, I don't feel that Boeheim used the bench as a punishment, and Red doesn't do that. If he's going to get fired, he'll get fired at the end of the year. Like, just stop saying it. But you coming at us about it isn't going to change it. Like, we can't fire him. We're not going to fire him. Ever. You know, it's like, just stop. Tell us what you would have done differently. We are the therapist, but I need a therapist. And when I go to my therapist, I don't talk to him about you guys. It's not a natural, irrational loyalty. Like, I have no loyalty to him. If he gets fired, he gets fired. But I have nothing to do with it. You wouldn't be good at it, Telemachus. I'm a talent. I didn't call you out. I complimented you. You at least have takes about what you would do differently while Red is here.
We just coming back, taking a break again?
Sure.
Well, I'm asking you.
Sure.
Okay.
I answered you.
You said sure, like it was what I wanted to do. I just want to know what you want to do. Because we could.
Sure.
We would have an extra break to make up. We could either do it now.
Let's do it now.
You want to do it now? Okay. I feel like you're very salty today.
I've been busy.
Okay. What does that mean?
It's not salty at you. Like, I read the chat.
I read the chat.
Making me angry.
Okay. All right. I do wear suits sometimes, LA Orange.
I need a rubby-roo right now.
Not today, though. I'm off today. I came in just to do this. This is the highlight of my day. Yeah, Kevin, the Bills are on the verge. Yes, they are. I mean, as long as Allen's the quarterback and they're in the playoffs, they're on the verge.
I know we do a great job. It's so brutal to just keep seeing the same shit over and over again. Say something other than he's the worst coach in the Power 5 in all caps 7 times in a row. I just stop. Oh, I'll give you death. I don't have a feeling right now, Steve. You know what? Tonight might be a good night, Steve. I hope it is for you. How'd you sleep last night?
You know what? I slept awful last night.
Good.
And I woke up with a monster headache, and I took an Advil right away. And I never take Advil.
You're smiling, too. And
but I feel better now. The Advil helps.
I slept great, and I don't have a headache, and I'm super angry.
You are angry. I thought, we haven't seen each other in a while.
It's got nothing to do with you, Steve.
Yeah.
It's just, here's where I get frustrated. The callers could call in and say, fire this guy, whether it's the football coach or the basketball coach. I get it. I was a bartender at one point in my life, Steve, and I was a bartender, and I heard people's problems, right? It's a problem. My wife's cheating on me. My dog died.
Somebody told you that as a bartender?
Yeah, that happens as a bartender. You're kind of a therapist. And someone in the chat said you're a therapist, Paulie. And I get it. We are. But when you're a bartender, every story was different. My dog died. My wife was cheating. Fire Red just constantly for 2 hours every day. It's longer than that. It's my social media is Fire Red. I'm a therapist, and everybody's got the same exact problem.
Yeah. And the thing of it is, too, and this is why...
And I can't fix it for him.
The Hofstra loss was so bad was that, that... At least the Tennessee win, it provided hope, right? And then the Hofstra loss made it so that nothing's going to change. Nothing can change, really, until February. And now that's really the case after... Well, it can only go in one direction. It can't really get better, I guess, until February. So... This is going to be the talk track for at least the next month.
I can't do anything. I can't make the offense better. I can't fire Red. Call in and say, you know what I saw last night? I didn't like it. That's fine. Maybe they should do this, Just, I'm so sick of the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's
me
like
too.
Groundhog
I'm right
Day.
there with you. Yeah.
There is a guy on Twitter, and I'm not even going to say his name. He is so obsessed.
Yes, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
With saying fire Red. I finally told him to get a second act.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I go,
how'd that go for you?
He's like, "Why? I'm sorry I have a voice and it's bothering you." I go, "It's not bothering me. It's coming off as obsessive and creepy."
Yeah, right.
If your main goal in life is to get someone fired, you should probably do some
self-reflection.
Yeah. Just maybe root for the team still. Nobody, stop being a jerk. And just root for the team. You don't have to root against the coach.
It does seem like there's a lot of that going on right now. It seems like people want them to lose so that he loses his job.
Yeah, but if he doesn't win, he's going to probably lose his job.
I said 2 weeks ago that SU fans are actually in a great spot because if they lose, you'll get your wish and he'll get fired. If they win, then he'll prove you wrong and you can celebrate a team that's going to the NCAA tournament. So SU fans are in a good spot either way.
Yeah.
Some positivity to start 2026. You want this to be a short segment? We'll try to get back on time. We're a break behind.
Can we do a non-basketball break? Because then we'll be accused of hiding the elephant in the room, Steve.
Yeah, I just tried to tell you at the top of the show I learned something yesterday, and people got mad at me for saying that. So, anyway, let's hit a timeout. Phone lines are buzzing, so we'll take some of your phone calls next on ESPN Radio.
I just remixed the Tim Leonard promo masterful. I did a masterful. Yeah, it is fine, but you don't need to do it 7,000 times a day. He's a one-trick pony. Does he have another favorite team that he could watch and maybe take something off his plate and maybe say, hey, the Bills won today? Or, you know what? The sun came out. I hate shoveling. Maybe that's a good tweet. I hate shoveling. Fire Mother Nature. No, because that's just a stupid take. He's not getting extended. I just remixed it with Black Eyed Peas.
I sense the clock is off too because I came in here thinking that you guys weren't back yet. We're all rusty. Steve, would it offend you if the promo is you saying like, "Oh, sorry, I just got attacked"?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God! No, you should do the promo. Me ignoring.
Okay, I don't.
You should do the promo.
Whatever.
Me ignoring Steve. Then Steve ignoring me. That's a great.
Do whatever you want.
That's a great promo. That's a great promo.
I don't care.
Because we both did it to each other. Yeah, it's funny.
It's fine. Thank you for asking, but do whatever you want.
Come on, man. Yeah.
Better?
Wow. New year, new me. New you. Who are the creepy fans that try to fit in with 20-something-year-olds? I don't leave my house anymore, Steve, and I like it. We haven't even talked about the snow.
You want me to break down the snow? Snowed a lot.
You probably have someone that plows you.
Yeah.
I bet you do.
Twice in one day.
Yeah, I shoveled 4 times. And then yesterday, I got to tell you a story before we get into these calls that I'll save for the air. Steve loves a good 2-time-a-day plowing. You're right, LA Orange. Yeah, I already cracked the joke about that, Kevin. My new neighborhood just had a mass stabbing. CJC's son rolled over the first time during the Bills-Eagles game, kind of like Josh Allen rolled over. That's funny. See, at least mix it up. Steve's been brutal to me about my Steelers via text messages. He's getting good at it. I appreciate that. He's turning into a guy friend. Did you get any quarter zips for Christmas?
I did. I added one to the collection. It's funny. I'll tell the story in the next break.
It sure is. Welcome back. Hour number 2 rolling along, Steve. One of my coworkers, I was here yesterday all day working my tail off. And office was quiet. One other person here, and he got stuck in the driveway of the office getting out. And I, being the gentleman I am, went out and tried to push him and help him. And other people came over to help. And I said, you know what? I'm going to put some salt under the front tires. So I went to my car and got the salt out. And I tried to climb over a snowbank to help him. And I fell super hard off the bank onto Walton Street.
Oh, no.
And made an ass of myself. So I will no longer, my one good deed of...
Never going to help again.
Yeah, my one good deed of 2026 is done, as I fell in public. And I don't know if the people knew who I was or not. I hope they didn't. But I fell right in front of the plebes on the street.
Are you injured?
No.
No.
But I was humiliated. There was salt all around me. And and I was laying in the middle.
Sorry,
of
I missed it. Is there a camera
I don't know.
that we can see? Is there like a Galaxy camera?
I was in the middle of Walton Street.
I want to see a replay. Let's go to the phone lines. Scooter in Jamesville up next on the show. Hey, Scooter.
Oh, geez. I don't know. Up until the Polly was talking about being a therapist was the funniest thing I heard on the show. Now, after the tales of helping out somebody and falling in Walton Street, that might be the funniest thing I heard you say, Polly.
Yeah, I could have hurt myself. Nothing good comes from being good. You can quote me on that.
Well, actually, being a therapist or Prozac, I'm not sure which one I would choose, going to you as a therapist or taking Prozac. But did you actually get the windshield fixed so you can go through the lights on the lake?
Yes, my windshield is fixed.
And you went through lights on the lake? You finally went through?
Do I look like a criminal that I would drive around with a cracked windshield?
No, I just wondered if you intentionally did it so you didn't have to go through lights on the lake.
What are you in for? I drove around with a cracked windshield.
Really? You guys talking basketball, but I'd like to talk about the playoffs a little bit. They got to do something with the system because Indiana is the only team in 2 years off that long bye that's won. And they're supposed to be the better teams. And they're playing on a neutral field for their first game, where these other ones have played basically home games. So I don't know if they're going to add another 4 teams to go, but there's too much time in between. I think this started December 12th or 13th, and they've only played basically 2 rounds, and they got another round this week. And I don't know how long before the championship, but they got to do something because these teams now are sitting around in the first half have been kind of lackluster, and thank God for last night's Mississippi game with Georgia. But
how long do we tolerate the SEC, by the way? Acting like they're all tough.
Yeah, exactly. I like it, that part. You're right, Paulie, that part.
The past 2 years, they've been terrible in the bowl games.
Exactly. They're 8-2 against the Big Ten, 4-0. But you're absolutely right. And the Alabama fans must be going nuts because they expected to be in the championship every year. But to me, they got to do something. They got to tweak this a little bit because it just is too long in between. I mean, March Madness. There's no 2 or 3 weeks delay before they start playing again. You go conference and you go in. So they got to do something. They got to start the week after, and just continue playing every week.
Yeah, and I agree with this, Scooter. And not to make excuses, because I'm not. I do think that the layoff hurt Ohio State and helped Miami. I think we saw that. Oregon the same way. Like Oregon, I think benefited from playing the extra game. Now, in regards to the SEC, if I said to you right now, pick a team that's going to win the title right now. Who do you feel most comfortable with?
Probably Indiana.
Do you though?
Yeah, Indiana.
Because
Oregon.
They got to play Oregon.
Yeah, those are my 2. Indiana. I would rank it Indiana, Oregon.
Okay, that's interesting because I think, given the fact that Mississippi doesn't have to play Indiana or Oregon, they have to play each other. I would look at it and say Mississippi might be the pick.
I think the winner of that game is going to be our NC, as the kids would say. They win the Natty,
the national champion. Mississippi's pretty good.
Miami's defense has been great.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if they can score enough. They benefited from the pick 6, obviously, and then they were able to hang on. I don't know that they can score enough to beat Mississippi, but we shall see. So I think the reason I bring it up is right now, yes, I think Indiana is the best team in the country, but I think the fact that they've got to play Oregon in the semis, I think Mississippi might be the pick right now. Let's go to Jim in Pennsylvania. Jim, what's going on?
Hey guys, Happy New Year.
Same to you.
Thank you.
Nothing to be happy about, by the way.
Well, a couple of things maybe. Hey, I was appreciating this. I often have this on when I work remote certain days from home. My wife walks through my office and she'll say, "You're listening to that again? Like, don't you have more important things to be doing?" And, I usually say yes or no. My response today, she walked through, which she heard you guys arguing over how you don't listen to each other. And she said, "You listen to this, and people doing the show don't listen to it." And I said, "Well, you're not wrong. They did just say that. Exactly."
So what you're saying is your wife's not a fan of Orange Nation.
I think she thinks that I spend too much time when she thinks I'm supposed to be doing other things. I think that's maybe what it is. I told her I'm a multitasker, though.
There you
That's how
go.
it really works.
There you go.
So two things. One is about the fire, whether it's Red in this season, whether, it was Coach Frange or in the football season as things turned out. I mean, the one thing I will say, and maybe this says more about, again, the people that are, I'm not bad-mouthing anybody else, but I'm just saying in terms of who knows what's going on in people's lives, that their focus is on being angry about people losing their jobs. I will say this, neither of these men, in my opinion, in Red or, again, back to football season, with Coach Fran, are guys that anyone should be happy about or want to see lose their jobs because they seem like decent human beings. I know that's regardless. People say, well, yeah, they're not doing the job. And you know what? And then they're going to be held accountable by John Wildhack eventually if they're not doing the job. But the world is full of, if you saw over the weekend, Denny Hurley having his baby fit again because there were some reporters talking in the back of the room when he started making his statement after the game was over. And he just said, I'm not going to talk. I don't give a, expletive about anything else, then forget it. And we'll walk away. There's a guy who, if he lost his job, 30 seconds from now, I'd say good luck to you, right? Like just goes through life being a jerk to everybody, just everything the way he presents himself. Or how about the Lane Kiffin bringing home the shopping cart because he found out that Louisiana was getting rid of plastic bags. They didn't want to pay the 10 cents per bag for the whole thing in a state with some of the highest poverty in the country. And this is like those coaches are people, if you want to be off-putting as human beings, those guys take the cake. So people being happy about our guys losing their jobs, they have no idea in terms of just on the scale of decent human beings. Anyway. So there's that. The second thing is the business of sports. I want someone to do an expose on taking down all of these ranking services, all of these recruiting services that capitalize off of these kids. So the two players you just mentioned in Indiana and Ole Miss, the quarterbacks, you got the Mendoza kid who was going to Yale before Cal decided to take a flyer on him and see if it would work out. And now he's leading his team, right? It looks like marching towards potentially the Natty, the way they're playing. And then you got the kid from Ole Miss on the other side who was playing D2, who when he went into the transfer portal a year ago, after winning the Natty at the D2 level, was ranked 852 amongst kids in the portal. There were kids from Columbia, Lafayette, and Fordham all ranked ahead of him. Holy cross. It was like a whole list. And now he's taken his team on the verge of winning. So all these people that make their living off, we know this kid, 10 years old, he had a mixtape, and he's doing this and all this nonsense. Like, it's so much bunk, and all of that needs to be called out, too, because it's a joke. People posing pictures with the national champs because this kid's an All-American, and the All-Americans can't get the job done, but kids out of nowhere are the ones doing it. So, and that part I love. I think that's helping make sports great in the face of where we are with a lot of the stuff right now.
Yeah, no, that is a great point. You look at both of those success stories, and it's, Indiana just in general has been fun to watch this year. They've got several examples of kids like that on their team that were, the cast-offs, and they came in, and, it shows you sometimes it's just a matter of getting the right opportunity or the right coach or the right system or, whatever the case may be. But, they have flourished, and Mississippi has been a whole lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and going back to the nice guy thing, nobody wants nice guys to get fired, but you got to win games.
Sure.
Ultimately, as a head coach,
the hatred, I think, is the part that I don't understand.
Yeah,
I don't really get that.
He's a guy you want to root for, right?
Well, yeah.
If you don't like him,
and by the way, you did root for him at one point.
Yeah. You should be rooting for him to figure this out. Like, he is a good guy. He wants the best for Syracuse, and that's not defending him. It's just like he's one of you.
Yeah.
He's one of us. I'm a fan too.
That has caught me off guard. The way that people are just
brutal.
Yes, and personal, and they are relishing in the fact that he's struggling, or the team's struggling, the program's struggling. Jim brought up the rating services too. I hate the net ranking because that I think leads to part of the vitriol. Like right now, everybody thinks the season is over. And they could go out and they could lose to Pitt. They could lose to Georgia Tech. And the season would be over, right? That could happen early, but you would know that without the net ranking, right? The net ranking, though, just makes it people so just dumb. It dumbs it down. Like, it's not over. Like, Syracuse goes out and wins the games they're supposed to win from now on. Pitt
picks off 2 or 3 quad ones, they're still fine. That's probably a tournament team. But you got to win.
Yeah.
Right? The season isn't over because they're 99th or whatever in the net ranking. Like someone was tweeting out, their net ranking right now would put them 13th in the Mountain West or whatever. Okay, that's great, but that's not how conference standings work. Your conference standings aren't done by net ranking, right? It's done by wins and losses, and if you win games, your net ranking will go up.
Right, especially with the month of February that they have, right? Because strength of schedule is cooked into that, and virtually every game in the month of February right now is either quad 1 or quad 2. The two that may not be are home against Cal and home against Pittsburgh to close out the year. There's a chance that those two will fall outside quad 2, but as of right now, everything else from January 21st on will be, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's 11 of your last 13 games are going to be either quads 1 or 2. So the opportunities are there. They've got to win games, obviously, but they'll have the opportunity to improve their resume. They're going to have to get hot down the stretch, though, especially if they give any of these next 5 away.
2 things in our chat before we take a timeout here. One said, I don't hate anyone. I don't hate them. If you want someone fired, you kind of hate them.
Right? I mean, not necessarily.
You kind of do.
If you're
calling for them to be fired,
I would say this.
You can't juxtapose that with, I don't hate the guy.
I'm going to bring up Mike Tomlin, right? So there are times where a coach's voice gets stale, right? And a change is needed. That's not what we're talking about here. Yeah. But that's an example of, okay, you've had enough of Mike Tomlin. Or like with the Bills. Like, let's say the Bills continue to kind of like max out with, they get close to the Super Bowl, but they don't get there with Sean McDermott. Great guy. Thank you for what you did, getting this, this franchise back into the playoffs every year. But we need to go with a guy who's going to get us over the hump and get us to the Super Bowl or win a Super Bowl. Like, I get that. And I'm not saying everybody, I'm not saying there's hatred from everybody, but go on, like, if you don't think there's hatred, go on social media. Like, there are a lot of personal attacks.
Did you hear that call we took? That guy said something I don't even know if you could say on the radio.
Yeah, right. There are people that have crossed the line, right? And, it may very well be time for new leadership at the end of the season. But, to your point, they're not going to fire him during the season. Let's see how it all plays out. And there are a lot of games left.
Don't give up yet.
They have
That's
opportunities. And if they don't win enough, he's going to lose his job.
All right. Bring Back the Current says something wild to me in our chat, too. We used to get excited. We had a team that could make a run for a title. Now we just get in the turn. Now we just want to get in the tourney. When Syracuse made its last 2 Final Fours, the calls we took were complaining that they weren't in the top 25.
Yeah, right.
Right? The regular seasons weren't good enough. Everybody was complaining then, too.
Yes, right. That they were fluky runs.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm aware. Yep, lived through that as well. All right, let's hit a timeout. Phone lines remain open if you want to check in. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
Who cares when the last top 25 thing was? Like, it would be nice to be ranked. This was a top 10 recruited team. Was this a top 10? I thought it was like top 30. This year's team, was it a top 10 recruiting class?
With recruiting, it just, it depends on where you look.
Root for him. And then if he gets fired, he gets fired. And you're happy. Root for him to figure it out. That Michael Carter Williams team went on the road and beat Louisville. They had a chance to win it that year. Guys, I'm not saying the cope is hard. It's just like there's more to your life than to be this angry over things. Like I just don't get it. Maybe I don't intake sports the same way as you, but I loved those Final Four runs. And like to be mad they weren't in the top 25. Well, Quadir didn't pass in school. If I covered the team honestly, what more do I have to say? What have I been dishonest about? Ellie Orange, tell me what I've been dishonest about today, any day. I say when the offense stinks, the offense stinks. When I say the defense stinks, I say the defense stinks. When JJ stinks, I say JJ stinks. I've questioned Red subbing and other shit all year long. I didn't say he could turn it around. I said root for him to turn it around. Don't be an a-hole. My takes are honest. I don't want anybody fired.
Quick segment here, and then Matt.
The offense was better in Vegas.
Or are we taking Matt here? Quick segment here, or are we taking Matt?
Is Matt on? If Matt's on, we can take him. Who said it was okay to be mediocre? I was commenting on the fact that people said we didn't have anything to complain about before, and you did complain. I never said they run good offense. I said they run an offense. People were saying they don't run an offense. All right.
Okay. All right. I do. Kill the mics for 1 second.
Okay, I glaze his junk. I'm a junk glazer. I'm going to glaze your junk while I'm at it. Tim Leonard has the best show ever. I'm glazing your junk.
Not much.
Paulie glazes your junk is a new segment. Let him cook. We don't have time.
We don't have
Big
time.
Daddy Kane to cook, Steve. No. Tim Leonard's here.
Today's business.
Yeah.
First of 2026.
Yeah, we're going to have to come up with a new segment that's maybe sponsored by a donut shop, Steve.
Oh, God.
According to our chat.
Right now, it's sponsored by Superior Plus Propane. Just to get that in there.
Red velvet glazed donut. Thank you.
All right, can we get to today's business? We don't have much time. We got Matt Park standing by, so go ahead, Tim.
Well, we haven't talked a lot about football, which I figured was going to be the case today because it's a basketball town and everyone's fed up with basketball. I guess plenty of people are fed up with the football transfer portal as well. I'll talk about this more in detail on my show maybe, but I don't really see why there's so much negativity around the portal. I think it's sort of silly to look at the number of guys that have entered the portal and freak out in regards to, I think it's 26, maybe even 27 players have been in the portal. When you actually go through the list of who is in the portal from Syracuse, there's 3 guys that I think are big losses. Yasin Willis, Jonte Cook, and Daryl Gill Jr. And 2 of those said they were coming back, so I think it hurts a little bit more. But to a fan that is sort of freaking out about the portal, I would say, what were you expecting? Of course, good players are going to leave every year in the portal, and they just had a 3-9 season and really only 3 guys left that are noteworthy.
And I will say this about those 3 guys. So I did some digging myself, and I've had a few people reach out to me like, what's going on? Is there a cultural problem?
Yeah.
Look at the wide receiver position. Why does nobody want to come back and play with Steve Angeli? So I did some digging myself, and I had a team source tell me that of those 3 guys, because those are the 3 that everybody points to, right? Gill, Willis, and Cook. And I had a team source tell me that 2 of those guys were encouraged to enter the portal by the coaching staff, Cook and Willis. And that Daryl Gill was the one guy that they really wanted back that they didn't get back. And those things are going to happen, right? And I didn't get any reasoning in terms of, was it money related? Was it better opportunity? I don't have a reason on why Gill left, but I can tell you that of those 3, he's the one guy they wanted back. And I was a little surprised by Willis, because we heard Fran Brown at the beginning of the season say, he's the best offensive player. They need to give him the ball more. And from what I've been able to gather, they didn't look at him as, the definition of dart. And so he was encouraged to hit the portal. Jonte Cook was encouraged to hit the portal. And, Gill is the one guy that they wish they had back that they don't. But to your point, and it's a good point, those were the 3 regular starters. And I think if pretty much everybody else is coming back aside from 3 regular starters, and 2 of them were guys that you said, hey, we wish you well, good luck in your next stop. I think that, that's, to me, that's not time to panic. And some of what the portal is, and I know that you brought this up before the show, that it's tough because the portal opens and you know everybody who's leaving, but you don't know who's coming yet.
Right.
And I'll speak to the wide receiver position in particular. I know that they are very high on Darian Williams, the kid from CBA. They like him a lot. They've got Darius Boobie Johnson, who they like a lot as well. And not to mention the freshman they've got coming in, Calvin Russell, 5-star recruit, Amari Goff, 4-star recruit. And, and then you see what else they add from there. But those 4 guys in particular, they are very high on. So I think before people look at it and say, well, there's got to be an issue because Willis left, and look at the wide receiver room. Willis left, that wasn't by accident, and the wide receiver room, I would say, is not as bad as people are making it out to be, at least from the coach's perspective.
I'm gonna say this as a fan perspective. It doesn't look good. They've lost their skill positions, which were, we were told Angeli was the reason that they couldn't move the ball and everything would be fine, and now they're starting over again at the skill positions.
But again, I don't think that the coaching staff looks at it as they're starting over.
Well,
again.
they are.
But does that make you think what Steve just said?
Cook is, I could care less about. I've had he gone. Good riddance. I could care less about that. You can't catch a football, and it's just a nightmare. Don't care about that. But the other stuff is, this sounds like spin to like the average fan. I mean, it could work out, but to the average fan, it sounds like spin.
Okay.
I guess I just have more confidence that Fran will acquire good talent when he can in the portal than maybe the average fan.
Yeah, the leaving isn't the panic part. It's when the portal's closed is when you got to.
Yeah.
That's when you panic.
So you say spin in regards to, you think Willis left on his own? Is that what you're saying? Spin?
He may have, he may not have. It's just I don't look at it as a good thing that this is happening.
Okay. I think they look at, listen, it's free agency. You've got to decide who gets the money, right? And we saw this last year with Trevor Pena. It was a good example. Trevor Pena said, they're going to give me $2 million. Fran Brown said, okay, well,
go take it.
Good luck, right? And so I'm sure that some of this stuff is going on behind the scenes, and you got to pick and choose who you're going to pay. And do we know specifically what happened with Willis? We don't. I can tell you that when we first found out about that, I was hearing some things that it was definitely a mutual parting of ways. It wasn't just, there was no surprise that Yasin Willis ended up, intending to go into the portal. I know the portal opened today, but that he announced when he did. So I don't know. I don't look at that as spin. Now, if you want to say, well, they're relying on these young guys, you talk about Darian Williams and Boobie Johnson and 2 freshmen.
Sounds like starting
proven?
over.
It's not proven talent, but like Jalen Hornsby, for instance, he's a loss in that I think you liked what you had, But are you going to pay him more based on potential? Or, like, you're not going to pay him based on his production this year. He had 8 catches for 103 yards. Now, if he wanted to come back, you'd be like, okay, we like that piece, but do you like it enough to give him more? If he says, I could get more elsewhere. So you got to pick and choose. And that's just the nature. It's, you're dealing with, like, cap space for certain, for lack of a better term these days. And if you think that you can use that money, could we pay Jalen Hornsby more to keep him here? Or do you use that on somebody else? They decided to use it on somebody else?
I'm just worried about the offense being fluid to start the season with
might
the
be too
position.
young. Yeah, they need to hit the portal, I would say, pretty hard. And
for sure.
But even those guys are going to be new to the system.
Yeah.
Whereas Gill, I liked.
Right. Gill, I think that they are upset. They're disappointed that he left. I think they really wanted him back, and those things are going to happen. But I guess my point is that if you lose 1 or 2 or 3 guys that you really wanted back, does that mean that there's a problem there? I don't think there's necessarily a problem. I think it's just kind of the cost of doing business in college athletics these days.
Yeah, we can get to Matt here in a sec. The last thing I'll say, I do think one fair point to bring up is that Fran Brown has said he wants to build through the high school recruiting class, and you look at some of their recent high school recruiting classes, and not a lot of these guys are staying 2-3 years. And I don't think that's a Fran Brown problem. I think that's a college football problem, but it's tough to truly build through the high school ranks. I mean, he's doing all he can to play these guys more than maybe the average coach, and if they're not getting the playing time, they're leaving, and some of them are playing a lot and then leaving because they're going to a bigger school, and that's a tough problem to fix.
All right, quick kicker for you guys.
Okay,
it's just
quick,
a personal question. Did you do anything for New Year's Eve?
I worked. I did the late show that night. I got off the air,
Do you
10:30.
care?
I don't. No.
Yeah, I was in bed at 10:30.
Yeah.
Like I woke up and it was the new. Like I didn't mean to go to bed at 10:30. But I wasn't trying to stay up for it. I didn't care.
Yeah, I don't really care, and I think that's just you and I are old, but I think young people care. Tim's a young person. What'd you do, Tim?
I was planning on doing something, but I was completely. I was bedridden. Right? Yeah, I was sick.
Yeah.
So I was one of the.
Would you have done?
Yeah, I was planning on going out, but also, I'm not like dying that I missed it. It's not my favorite holiday ever.
Yeah, I don't get what I got excited about back in the day about it. It's just,
it's a reason to party, Paulie. I think that's what it is.
It's like it's basically every year you just celebrate like your speedometer going around. 100,000.
All right, let's hit a break. Matt Park joins us next on ESPN Radio.
You read it was the statistic of how many people stay up till midnight, and we guessed too high. I think it was lower than we thought.
It was like
right?
40%.
Yeah,
38.
Definitely in the 40 or 60, whatever it was.
I forgot. Yeah. I think I got enough time to use the restroom this time.
Okay, it's not an emergency.
Oh,
I'll probably clip that up, Steve. You talking about like the team source told you. That's fine, right?
Yeah.
Cool.
I tweeted it. So yeah.
Okay. I had heard kind of similar stuff about you said. So.
Yeah.
Remote one was split to 2 remote, so I killed that. Yeah.
How come nobody called you Baghdad Steve when you were selling us on the transfer portal?
I'm just telling you what I was told.
Serious question: why aren't players catching heat in the chat? I don't know. I mean, it goes around, but Red is the head coach. He's going to catch the heat. That's how it always is. Usually, the football, the quarterback and the coach get it, and basketball, the point guard and the coach get it. JJ definitely does need. George takes some.
I'm gonna make your day today.
Please don't.
No organization overtime.
I don't know. He's seeing his.
I don't know why there's no levels. I mean, that's good.
RV out and about near you, and you can round up your purchases at Wilkins to help our foundation and support children in our area.
Are you guys hearing the commercials?
You can help change the lives of children by supporting the Boeheim Foundation. Go to BoeheimFoundation.org to donate.
Not you guys.
Thanks to Galaxy Media Group and CNY Central.
Just let me know if we're going to have to go phone.
What are we doing here?
We're either doing phone or...
Okay.
Boom, boom, boom. Matt Park's going to join us on the phone here in a second. I'm killing time, Steve. I'm running the Four Corners offense. You like this song?
I do. The Jimmy V 30 for 30 was on the other day, the Survive and Advance, and like you forget that there was no shot clock back then. Teams would hold the ball for like 3 minutes at a time. Like it seems like a different lifetime ago, right?
Yeah, it does. You know what is funny too? Like people forget that Syracuse had bad losses in basketball, like all the time. Even when they were ranked. Like they would lose. Like, do you remember the Cleveland State game?
Sure, of course. Yeah. Every team does. You play 31 games,
I know,
you're going to lose some games you shouldn't lose.
People act now like it happens too much now. I get it.
Yeah.
But it's just like I was talking to Eric Devendorf about it before one of the games. He goes, we lost to some really bad teams and we were way better than this team.
It happens. It happens in college basketball. You play that many games, you're going to lose to teams you shouldn't lose to. As promised, joined now by the voice of the Orange, Matt Park. Happy New Year, Matt. How you doing today?
Good, guys. How are you? Happy New Year.
We're doing great. Let's start with basketball. Obviously, tough loss coming off that Clemson game. We've been dissecting it for the last 90 minutes or so. What was the biggest issue, I guess, in that game from where you sat?
To me, just kind of a lack of urgency. Early second half in particular, I kind of found myself like, hey, when are they going to get going here? You go into the break down a point, which all things considered was about right. Donnie Freeman hadn't done anything to that point. It was not a great first half, probably for either team, and a defensive struggle at that point. It could have been worse, right? They were down big, down 10 in that opening half, or at least close to it. And to get back within a point and go, okay, you got another chance here. Come out with some fire to begin the second half and make a run at it. And I didn't really get a great sense there.
We had a caller ask us about Donnie not starting the game. What was your take on that? Because again, we look at it from the outside looking in like, well, if he's healthy enough to play, why is he not in the starting lineup? Was it a case of he was on a pitch count, for lack of a better term, and they were trying to save him for, bigger minutes in the second half? Or, did you have any reasoning for why he didn't start?
No, because we don't have the ability really to find that out once we don't. I know that on the day before it was sort of undecided, not because I specifically asked or heard about it, but I was told that they were working through that. I was a little surprised to see him not start. Just point blank for me, he would have started. I think the way that you tried to explain it, Steve, is the reason that you would not put him in the starting five, if to say, like, look, if he's only got 18 good minutes today, let's have the bulk of that be in the second half. And what Red said after the game was he played more than expected because that's what players do. They get out there and they break a sweat and they want to get going and keep going. And certainly Donnie, for starting as poorly as he did, wanted it to be better, and it was better. You'd love to have seen it, either one more shot go in or play another minute or two. Now, Coach Satlin, who knows the game inside and out, has forgotten more than we will know. He was in the camp of, oh, this is a really good play to bring him in off the bench. There's going to be a roar of the crowd and adrenaline rush and enthusiasm. Okay, maybe. I think I'd rather start the game with that than maybe in the next time out or something like that. Because there was a little bit of reaction, certainly, when he came in. But he came in and didn't play great. I just as soon maybe get that from the jump and maybe get it out of the way and get him going. He's the best player on the team by quite a margin. I would try to get as much out of him as possible.
Matt, what did you make about the timeout there at the end and the last play? Because that's come up a bunch from our callers.
I think they got a reasonable play at the end of the game. They got a 3 to tie it from a guy who can make threes. Is he their best shooter? No. But he was the hot hand in the second half. And I don't, Cayenne, I think the argument that he should have played more is probably apt, given that he is an innate scorer. But I didn't really sense it from anybody else. And that's what's part of the frustration, I think, here in recent years, is you probably since Judah Mintz, you don't get the sense that there's any one alpha dog that's like, hey, I'm demanding the ball. I'm going to score when everybody knows it's coming through me and that kind of thing. So in late game situations, that seems to be a little lacking. But in terms of the quality of shot at the buzzer, I would be fine. I'm sure they slept fine related to that specific thing.
Syracuse is shooting less than 31% from three-point range. They're about halfway through the season. Can we look at this now and say three-point shooting is a problem? And what do you do about that? Nate King's only had 2 attempts from three-point range. Cayenne took 1 3. I know they don't rely on it, but I don't know. Paulie and I think we feel as though they need to be a little bit more dangerous from 3 to open things up. I mean, how do you do that right now if you're Red in this offense?
Yeah, they need to be better offensively, period, really, in every respect. Going back to the infamous comments, Red's asked about the offense, and he says the offense isn't a problem. What I think he means by that is the offense, meaning the playbook, the approach offensively is not the issue. And I think that can be true if the pieces operate the way that you expect them to, or the way that their track record suggests that they will. If you can spread the floor by guys making threes, if Donnie does his thing and all of that works the way it's supposed to, yeah, you can absolutely run the offense the way they're doing, which is spacing and reads. And that's, for as much criticism as that gets around here, that's in vogue all around the world at a lot of, at the very highest levels of basketball. Spread the floor and let your playmakers work and put the defense in a tough spot. That's not a revolutionary or a controversial approach on the part of this coaching staff. But yeah, they got to make shots. I was just kind of looking earlier today, the teams that average about 6 3-pointers made, that's not a great neighborhood to live in. If you look down through there, yes, Arizona's in that category and a couple other decent teams, but there's not a lot of good teams that don't make threes. You've got to have something there. And just the proficiency, again, it doesn't have to be 40%, but if it can be 35, then you at least make the defense honor that, spread it. Now you put a player like a J.J. Starling, who's just not going to be a great shooter. He is a fantastic driver. You put him in position to succeed. So I think they'll work their way through that, get King some better shots, get Cayenne's confidence up in his better shots. He's a great driver too. So I think you'll see the offense more. If that was the first game with Donnie, for all intents and purposes, so they'll have to get better than they were on the last game out.
Matt, I had also brought up with the spacing. Do you think that William Kyle kind of hurts the spacing also because he's just not an offensive threat? He can't step out even 2 steps out of the lane and hit a jump shot?
Yeah, but I mean, you want them so much on the other end.
Yeah, the defense,
so,
right.
Again, I think that, another thing, it certainly gets the staff a lot of criticism is because this team has significantly improved over last year, there's the thought that these are all perfect, complete players, and that's just not the case. They all have some sort of limitation, so it's like a puzzle to kind of figure out how to work through it, right? J.J. Starling is a guy who can really drive and make things happen that way. He's not somebody you're going to rely on for a shot. William Kyle is superb at the defensive end. You can't really throw it into him with great expectations. Nate George does a lot of things right. He turns it over and takes questionable shots. Nate King's a very good defensive player, and on the offensive end, supposed to be a good three-point shooter, but has been a little, for whatever reason, has not gotten the volume attempts there. So there's a lot to work through to try to put everybody in position to deliver their best. Cayenne, very good at one end of the floor, a little suspect on the other. So that's what they're really working through, and that's what you try to do in the preseason. And obviously you're now at the point where you don't have a lot of wiggle room.
Georgia Tech is next, and this is a really important stretch, obviously, for Syracuse to go on a little bit of a run with Georgia Tech, Pitt, Florida State, BC, the next 4 on the schedule. Georgia Tech obviously just gave Duke all it could handle a few days ago on Wednesday. What do you make of this Yellow Jacket squad as you prepare to do the game on Tuesday?
Well, it's a team that's got a lot of balance. We'll be watching their game tomorrow. They have another game still before Syracuse visits, and they hung in there against Duke on the road. And save that, put a pin in that for your conversation when that comes up about winning at Duke, which Syracuse has done a couple times. I think Georgia Tech is something like since 2004 or some ridiculous number since they've won at Duke. And they're in the ACC and have been for a long time. So that, it's another thing where they've brought in people. It looks like Stoudemire's brought in a guard in Lamar Washington from the West Coast that played for him there that, is a high assist player like Nathan George was for him last year. That's a big homecoming for George and Soiree on this trip. But there aren't going to be any real easy games, guys, in the ACC the whole year. Syracuse is better than last year, but they're not improved enough that they're going to walk in and dominate anybody. I mean, the Boston College game on the road is about one of the very few that I think you can maybe put in that category. And so I would expect that this one will be a game where Syracuse should be all right, but they're going to have to play well. Got to keep from beating themselves. I think that's what's so frustrating about the turnover count, because they've had a handful of exceptionally low turnover games. They turned it over twice against Kansas. They've had 4 games of 6 turnovers or fewer. And then they've had 5 games of 13 or more. I think there's just some head scratchers in there that can be cleaned up.
And something that might be good news for everybody, Steve and Matt, is that Georgia Tech somehow wins quad 1 games, but like under Damon Stoudemire, and then they've struggled against the lesser teams. They seem to play up to their competition. So that was just my little nugget.
Yeah. We shall see. Matt, as long as we got you, let's talk a little football. Day 1 of the transfer portal. We see, more than 24 names, in for Syracuse. 3 starters, and we talked about it with Jonte Cook and Daryl Gill, Yasin Willis. I guess you must be hearing the same thing, right? Fans are concerned, or, as Paulie said a moment ago, it's not a good look. What's your reaction to the names in the portal right now?
There's only 3 names on the portal.
Right. Yeah, right.
Stop. So it's just the nature of college football. And these 3 names of offensive starters, they've gone in. So it brings, it raises your eyebrow. I think one of the big parts of it is, everybody, I love the social media that counts. Number 24. Next one, #25, 3 exclamation points. Stop with that. Everybody's got people leaving. And I just don't know. What are we doing with all that? But what happens is it's a one-way exit ramp right now because everybody's out on the portal, and now you're going to start to see the signings and things slowly trickle in. So, look, I trust in the head coach. I think the staff and their player acquisition has had a pretty good track record. And I think it really does come down to decisions. Is this person worth where you have them slotted budget-wise, and can you find somebody that replaces them? And where do you allocate your money? I think we're all in agreement that the money, whatever Syracuse has to be allocated toward offensive and defensive line. That those have got to improve for next season. You like the quarterback, you're going to work on backup quarterbacks, maybe plural. Sin Willis, I think, is great, but I think his production can be replaced. And I'm not trying to diss guys that have left. I'd rather have him here than not, okay? But if he moves on, I think you can find somebody to do what he did or do more of what you're kind of looking for. Jonte Cook, that's kind of the poster child really for the modern era here. He's moving on, and I think he's got to really answer for the way his season turned down in the second half, and that can't be just quarterback related, So he moves on, and I think the coaching staff is pretty comfortable with where things are right now. I think they're excited about incoming players, and they're working on getting some more.
Matt, you mentioned that it happens to everybody. I think what to me is jarring is it's the side of the ball that struggled the most, and it's the names that you recognize on that side of the ball. And it seems like you're going to have to do a complete restart on your offense next year.
And the year after, Paul. Well, not next year, but not for 27, because I think next year's team is going to be decent but young. And yes, people are going to leave. So next year at this time, we want to just have this conversation a year ahead of time. We're going to be talking about people leaving off the 26 team, okay, that are not going to be on the 27 team. It's just the way it is. And you're trying to manage that all the time. I think everybody needs to start, and I'm not saying this is great, I'm just saying it's the way it is. You got to recalibrate. Do you lament that the Syracuse Crunch roster turns over a good deal of the year, from one year to the next, and the Syracuse Mets? It's developmental. It stinks for a band in a lot of ways, but it's the way it is. I do think next year's team, because it's going to be recruited by Fran Brown and his staff, they're really excited about it. They feel good about retaining it. They're trying to acquire players that have multiple years of eligibility. So the idea is to retain the best of what you have every year, but it's just kind of the way it goes. Baseball, Paul, you like baseball. In baseball, we talk about, wins above replacement and, where is a guy above the average? I just think if you look back at Sin Willis's numbers last year, how far were they above the average? Right? Yeah. And Syracuse's running back production. I just think I don't want to tell tales out of school. I know that there was when I say there was a conversation between the head coach and the running back immediately after the season, I mean immediately after the season. And so I think they're on good terms here. It's not like he's leaving because he doesn't get along with the coach or anything like that. I just think decisions need to be made about who fits where and what can be done money-wise, and everybody's trying to do the best for themselves and for the program.
Yeah. Well said as always, Matt. Thank you for your time. Enjoy the weekend, and we'll chat again next week.
Okay, sounds good, guys.
All right, Voice of the Orange, Matt Park. We'll take our final timeout. We'll wrap things up next on ESPN Radio.
Yeah, Steve's big mad right now. The massive turnover is happening at the big schools too, guys, so it's not like... Steve isn't leaving. He just... You apparently came across as being very angry when you just walked out. Oh, his son called. Did I not just say that it doesn't look good? How like it sounds like spin and Gabriel, just shut up. We were talking in the context of the final 4 years, Gaper. He's number one on my favorite caller list. I wonder if he knows. Yeah. I wonder if he... Oh, it's trying to send it to you? I'm airdropping it. I don't know what's happening. It's trying to airdrop it. It's saying airdrop, and I don't know what that means. I'm old. Is it not happening? Do we need to touch? Do I need to touch your phone with my phone? You got it? All right. Boom! Oh, it worked. Oh, we gotta freaking do a thing on a thing. 30 seconds. Wow. The Dave Matthews Band become the first major artist to release a song on Napster. I did it. Well, those are fun.
Yes, I'm going to house this, as the kids would say, as soon as the show is over.
What?
Oh, the quarter zip super cat. Sorry. My dad listened to us talking about the quarter zip thing, and he returned the quarter zip that he bought me.
He already bought it.
He already bought it. He's like, oh, you apparently don't appreciate it. You apparently have too many of them.
Oh.
So I asked him. I asked him what color it was. He goes, it was like a maroon, because that was, I said I have like 4 of them, and he's like, so I took it back.
Shocking news just came from Stephen Fonte. We've ruined Christmas for your father.
He heard us talking about the quarter zip. He was in on the quarter zip conversation the other day. He said he bought a quarter zip, but he returned it.
I think you could do a year without.
He returned it. He had bought it. He returned it.
Although now how will you get through January?
I don't know.
You got February knocked out.
So yeah. It was like a whole thing. He said I hurt his feelings, and I felt bad. And
you shouldn't talk junk on
I have nothing to hide. We got a good laugh out of it. It was funny.
He was probably like, oh, now I have to think. Right. Now I have to know what my son actually likes.
I mean, I do like quarter zips, and I said that to him. I was like, I like them, but yeah, I've got a lot of them.
Janet Jackson.
Okay.
Britney Spears.
They did something together, right? Was it Super Bowl show or something?
No.
No?
No.
I thought they did.
2 separate things.
I guess they both did it.
Yeah. So you do the music.
Okay.
You stick to sports. Janet Jackson, Britney Spears. Shut up and dribble. The Beatles. And how about Mariah Carey? Mariah Carey, Britney Spears. Very late 90s, early 2000s. Janet Jackson, Mariah Carey, Britney Spears, or the Beatles.
You've got the legendary Beatles.
You can't go wrong with any of these.
And then I'm trying to determine which of the other three I want to vote for.
Do you know Britney Spears has a song that was written for the fan base of Syracuse basketball that's on social media?
Toxic?
Yes.
Yes. I knew where you were going with that.
We're on the same page there.
We are, yeah. I'm going to go Janet.
Yeah, I like that.
I think I'm going to go with the Beatles.
I think I'm going to go Janet also.
Nice.
I'm in the mood for Miss You Much. See, I don't say like you do, like, yeah, I'm going to vote with Steve because I want you to vote for me. No, I agree with you. Let's go Janet Jackson.
All right.
Little Miss You Much, Black Cat.
That's the Way Love Goes is my favorite Janet Jackson song.
Okay, I will.
It's a slow skate. Okay, keep that in mind.
Nasty.
Okay. I mean, she's got a lot of great songs. That's the Way Love Goes.
He's going to forget about this.
It reminds me of my DJing days.
Oh, yeah.
That was popular, that song.
I'm running out of my soda here.
Well, the show's over anyway.
All right, we got to go. For Tim, for Paulie.
Maybe I'll get a Sprite.
I'm Steve. Enjoy the weekend, everybody. We'll see you on Monday.